My name is Shanthi Chandra-Sekar, and I am from India originally. I was born in a small town named Erode in Tamil Nadu, and I live in Maryland, North Potomac now, and been living here for about 10 years. I started out as an artist, I thought I would become an artist when I was about in first grade. Decided that was my calling. When I got married and had children, I decided to be a stay-at-home mom and started working on my artwork when I had a little bit of time, and slowly moved on. One thing led to another. Now I'm exhibiting my work, I'm teaching, and my interest has been very varied, and it's always but gone back to my traditions, the starting point in India that I had. In a way, the Kolam was the starting point for me to be an artist. My mother used to draw the Kolam when she was pregnant with me, and someone commented that the baby is going to be an artist. And so as I got older, I started drawing all the time, and she felt it came true. But I was a little bit of a rebel too, did not want to stick to traditions. And it took me many years to get back to the traditional patterns, because there's so much beauty in them that I went around, tried out all kinds of patterns, and then decided this is just beautiful. I have to get back to the origins of Kolam. The Kolam is a form of artistic expression of Indian women. And Kolam is a Tamil word. It means how someone presents themselves to the others. So that's the actual meaning, one of the meanings of Kolam. And it's done by women as a day-to-day thing, first thing in the morning. The women around 4:35 before the sun rises, they clean the threshold with the broom, usually made of coconut leaves. But it's a broom with that, and then sprinkle water there, wet the place, and draw with either rice flour or rock powder. It usually starts with dots, or make an arrangement, an array of dots, and have lines that weave around these dots. And then there are other kinds of columns too, where the dots are connected, and there's a whole lot of patterns that can come out of it. There are a set of rules that people usually stick to, but then you can bring in your creativity along with that too. And then there are the columns that don't have any dots, but just geometric shapes, and taking them further from there, making more patterns based on the geometrical shapes. But on a day-to-day basis, mostly it's white powder, and maybe on an auspicious day there's a red border around it. But it's only on festive days that there would be the colored powder. The dots represent the problems and obstacles in life. And if a woman can find a way through, weaving her way around these dots, or she'll be a good problem solver, she'll be able to deal with life. And that is one of the aspects of the dot and the line. There is also the concept of impermanence, the creation. It's done every morning and in the evening. And it's made, people walk on it, it's gone, and you spend about 15-20 minutes making this really elaborate, sometimes an hour, 2 hours to make this elaborate pattern on the floor. And it is made in front of the house, so people are always walking around. And so it's the concept of impermanence, so creation and destruction, and there's a new beginning. And there's also the other thing about it is to feed 1,000 souls. So when originally they used to use rice flour, so you'd have the ants and the insects and the birds eat them. So it was one way to keep the insects out of the house, and another way to feed the 1,000 souls. So that's another aspect. To me, one of the things that I find very interesting with my other work also, that revolves around this concept of Shiva Shakti, or yin yang, the dichotomy, the two opposites. So the dots and the lines represent that. So with the dots, without the dots, the lines are nothing, and without the lines, the dots by themselves don't hold a shape. So I've been working with this theme also. That has been very fascinating. The way I would put this, for me, when I do the Kolam, I need the discipline of the Kolam drawing. So there is a discipline to it. Your dots are not measured. You're just placing the dots, and you have to know it. It has to come naturally. With the practice, you get to the point. Now with the other kind of art, I can throw the paint. And so what I do is I'm always trying to find a balance between the two. So there are times when it's meditative. Kolam drawing is very meditative. So that aspect of kolam is something that's necessary for me to work, so I can go ahead and throw paint if I need to do that. And when I do that, I need to get back to this. So it's always like a back and forth. I always miss, and I have to get back to that repetitive drawing with the columns, and so that has been a big help. And we lived in apartments mostly, so we painted because that's the only way we could have the column in front of the house. So, there are certain things that are very different, and I think one of the things is to adapt. That has been one of the Indian philosophy, has been to adapt. With the place, with the time, you adapt and you change it and you still keep it going, but you can adapt to it. So that is when I decided, like, even the whole idea of painting them was, it took me a long time. It was not easy because of the concept of impermanence, and making a column a little more permanent by painting was against it. And then I just missed it way too much when I came here. And I decided, I have to adapt. Snow-covered floor, I can't do anything. So decided the best way to do it is to bring in the color and bring in keep the tradition going.